Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Listen, we're going to jump right in because I know that folks, we will be a little light today. This is a very popular season. It is graduation season. Congratulations to all of the 2025 graduates, whether you are graduating, being promoted from pre-K to first grade or to kindergarten, being promoted in elementary school. Listen, those graduations we cannot forget while we are celebrating. Those promotions and rites of passage are equally important. And so, shout out to all of our kinder care babies who are being promoted and are graduating from one level to the next. We celebrate your accomplishments. Your community acknowledges you, Ashe, and for your work. We just say kudos to you and to your parents. To those who are transitioning, who will be transitioning from elementary school to middle school, like my nephew. Big shout out to R Jizzle, aka RJ, aka Roberto Jr., who will be going from elementary school to sixth grade. And from those who are going from middle school to high school, and from those who are graduating from high school on their way to wherever life may take them, where they, as Howard Thurman says, feel that they are most alive, whether it be straight into a job, whether it be a gap year, whether it be into technical college to trade, whether it be into a four-year institution. Wherever your journey takes you, we congratulate you on the completion of this rite of passage, Ashe, on this initiation. And for those who are graduating post-secondary, universities on the undergraduate level, on the graduate level, and on the extra graduate level, so the master's and the doctoral levels. We salute you. Salute. We have many from our community. Lest I start saying names and forget any, I don't want to do that. But please know that I have seen many of you, and as a member of your community, I want to say I'm proud of you. Congratulations, congratulations. We celebrate you. We celebrate you. We celebrate you. What an accomplishment. Ashe, what an accomplishment. We hope that you feel celebrated. Ashe. Ashe. Let's get into this week's announcements because there are many. There are many, 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 many. Starting with tomorrow, I'll be traveling to Atlanta, Georgia, where I will be one of the preachers. What do they call it? A festival. I think they say main stage preachers at the Festival of Homiletics, the 2025 Festival of Homiletics. I've been participating in the homiletics now, I think, since 2019. And it is always a meaningful moment and opportunity. It is I was going to say it's a mixed crowd, but that would be mixed. It would not be the right word. It is mainly a non-BIPOC crowd. But there are BIPOC people there, and they have been intentional on giving space to BIPOC people on the main stage and those who preach. It is sponsored by Luther Seminary out of Minneapolis. Others will be there: Dr. Valerie Bridgman, Dr. Teresa Fry Brown, Dr. Otis Moss III. Shouldn't have started naming. Dr. Cynthia Hill. Myself, Dr. Danielle McCray. There are others, and my good friend and sis, Dr. Kalia Williams, who will be serving as the liturgist, the worship director for the entire festival. So if you are in Atlanta, I will be. Good morning, Pastor. I was just going to text you. My pastor, my father in the ministry, the one who licensed and ordained me, in case y'all ever want to know, is on here. He don't like fanfare, but I'm going to call his name. Hey, Pastor Ed. So I will be in Atlanta tomorrow. I'm preaching Tuesday at 9 a.m. Now, I know I shouldn't say what I'm about to say, but for those of you who are not registered for the entire thing and you just want to come be in the community and support me while I preach, get at me and I will give you the deets to where I am. Ashe. Ashe. So I'm excited to be with them. By the end of the week on Friday, I will be spending Friday, part of Friday, with the good people at the Carter G. Woodson High School for their graduation ceremony for the class of 2025. This school founded by whom I call Mama, attorney Hazel Mack. A pillar in the community, as was her mother, Mama Lethe Mack, as is her sister, Mama Ruth, and other members of her family, along with their comrades who have worked in this community for many, many, many years as founding members of the Black Panther Party here, the first Southern chapter of the Black Panther Party here in Winston-Salem. And so I am pleased to speak and to say a word to the graduating class of 2025 at Carter G. Woodson High School on Friday. And I invite you all who are local to come. Ashe. Also, shout out to the community in Baltimore, Maryland. Shout out to the We Give Black, to the We Give Black community. I invite you to go to wegiveblack.com. Shout out to my brother Jamie Wooten and to all the people who are assisting, who are providing, raising the vibration on restoring, remembering, and reimagining through wealth and how we use our wealth, both financial and otherwise, to rebuild our communities. So I will be on their Imagine stage along with Professor Ruha Benjamin. Ruha, as I shared last week, is the author of many texts who will be speaking around the topic of Black to the Future, about ancestral intelligence and innovation and how we can dream ourselves free. That is May 29th through May 31st. So we invite you to come on through to Baltimore. But before you go to Baltimore, I share, and all of this you can find on my website, www.drmelvasampson.com. You can find and meet me under my itinerary. Meet me at one of these places where you can actually take the time to read through. But before we get to the 29th, let's stop right here by May 22nd. Derek and I present to you the preview, which is our press conference announcing the One Love Festival and our mixer. So on Thursday, May 22nd, 2025, we welcome you and encourage all press to send out press releases and those who are just interested community stakeholders to come hear what's going on with the One Love Festival, to come hear what we're doing. We invite you to be with us at 10 a.m. Thank you. My boo just brought me some flowers. Thank you. We invite you to be with us at 10 a.m. At the Kempton Cardinal Hotel as we, unveil what we are doing. Really, we've already unveiled it because you've been seeing it. So shout out to those who will be joining us this year. We are really excited. Here we will then have a cocktail happy hour mixer from 5 to 9 at partnering with Robert Hall. And so we just invite you, if you are here locally in the Triad or even in the Triangle or even in Charlotte and you just want to drive up to support, please do. Of course, there's no cost to each, so we invite you to join with us. And y'all, let me ask you to do me this favor. When you see me post on my platform, please share. Please share it. Please share it. Ashe, that will help us out a lot. Some of you, those of you who are subscribers also to my website, I think I have over 750. You all received this information yesterday in an email. If you subscribe to my store, you also receive this information via email. So I'm hitting all spots. So I need you. I need you to assist me. Ashe. So this year, let me just say before we move on, because this is the concentrated time where I have many of you and many of you will come back to see this, is that we are partnering with Wake Forest University School of Divinity and the Sacred Memory Project, housed at the McCormick Theological Seminary, to present to you Restoring and Recovering Coded Competencies. So this is what has been our annual Artistic Soul Conversation, which is usually the Saturday between 10 a.m. And typically it has been between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. the Saturday of the concerts. Our offering last year, you'll remember we had an art exhibit, then we had the Artistic Soul Conversations, and then we had concerts Friday night and Saturday night. This year we have switched it up. We will now have a 3-day long Artistic Soul Conversation and Creative Institutes under the banner Restoring and Recovering Coded Competencies for Theology, Faith, and Wellness in African American Communities. I am excited. This is not a conference, even though when you click the link, the website might look like it's a typical conference. Just hold, those visuals are coming real soon. But this is not a typical sit and banking method conference where somebody talks to you all day and you just take in the information. This is a 3-day immersive offering where we will be engaging conversation about what it means for us to restore as a healing practice that is rooted in the African American tradition. And we will be using art, body, music, and language, right? So you as a participant will uncover how restoring serves as a coded language of diligence, of faith, and of wellness. Mama Itihari, Dr. Teray, will be joining us as our ritualist, as she will be leading us in ritual every day. Reverend Dr. David Brawley, the senior pastor of the St. Paul Community Baptist Church, will be engaging us around coded competencies in community organizing and building, sustaining our communities, as he has built a community there in East New York, Brooklyn, New York, has had the opportunity to work with others to develop multi-million-dollar housing, affordable housing, and many, many other things, including the Imagine School that started in the basement of his church. To talk about that as a coded competency, we will also be led and guided by my good friend, Soul Trust brother, the Reverend Stephen Lewis, who will be joining us to talk about the ways that our languages are embodied, taking us through movement. So we will be moving around, getting up. I told you we won't just be sitting there. And then while we're there, we have 2 artists in residence. Our very own Dr. Chelsea Green, and who is a part of Chelsea Green and the Green Project. But for the 3 days of the Institute, she will be our artist in residence. Our artists will be listening and watching what we are engaging and will be responding artistically in real time as a coded competency. So as we are retrieving our narratives, they are hearing it in their particular mode of art and will be responding in that way and engaging us to do the same. Finally, I certainly will be present and also facilitating that Saturday morning about creativity and radical imagination, Ashe. Radical imagination as a coded competency and what that looks like. Friends, registration is required, but there is no cost to attend the Artistic Soul Conversation and Institute. Again, there is no cost to attend this portion of the festival, but we ask that you please do register just so that we can keep tabs and be able to prepare. Oh, I got all kind of flowers coming down downstairs. Thank you. Be able to prepare for you sufficiently. And then we will leave the code of competencies. We will leave that space, Ashe, but we will move our code of language right on into the evening as we celebrate the festival. Shout out to none other than Chelsea Green, who will be engaging us, who will be headlining for us this year at the One Love Festival. That is our good sis. Don't let me go put this stuff on you. Let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go. You are divine. Ashe, let me tell you something. And then, of course, broadly, the festival, June 26th through the 28th. Thank you for the invitation.
Join us every June for the One Love Festival, a vibrant celebration of openness through music, art, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Experience regional, national, and international artists amplifying African diasporic culture. Immerse yourself in love for self, community, and culture. Enjoy our artistic soul conversations, spreading positivity and knowledge. For sponsorship opportunities or more information, visit www.onelovefestival.com. See you next June.
And we are super excited to have none other than DJ SK on the one. Listen. One thing you should know about me, I'm a golden hair hip hop lover. What I love about DJ, like you ain't know this, what I love about DJ SK is he's gonna take you to the beginning and brother is so dope. Listen, a part of the Nation Hip Hop. Dope brother. When I first heard him, I was like, yo, I did not get off the dance floor. So we hope that you will join us. Get into it. And those are all of our announcements. We also have a DJ whose name I can't say yet for our mixer. I'm hoping to be able to tell you as soon as we solidify that. And y'all going to be excited. Those of you all who are in the area, you're going to be super excited. So this is our 5th year for the One Love Festival. And you can also make tax-deductible donations to us through our fiscal agent. If you are interested in doing this, please either email me at drmelvasampson@gmail.com, onelovemedia48@gmail.com. Inbox me and I can provide you the information of our fiscal agent so that if you want to make a donation, if you know you can't be here to come on, but you want to just shout out and support us, you can do that. Also, while the Summer Institute is free, the ticket to the concert does cost. I think it's like $40, which is a good price. Amen and Ashe. Okay? Amen. 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 I believe that. Whew. Those are all the announcements that I have for you right now. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Byron. Good morning. Listen, if you love those visuals as much as I love those visuals, shout out to Indent Media. Hold on, D, my bad. You right on camera. Shout out to, that's okay. Shout out to Indent Media. The number NDENT Media, the media company of Nicole Denise. You can look her up, Indent Media. She is the truth, y'all. Shout out for those visuals. Just appreciate you, Nicole Denise, for the many ways that you show up in our community. And so if you have needs, if you have media needs, even down to writing press releases, if you are a writer and you need a writing coach, Nicole Denise is a full-scale media operation and can assist you in that. So shout out to her. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So good morning, good morning, good morning, Winter, Miranda, Confidence, Ardella, Natasha. To our community over on YouTube, good morning, Tangi Middleton over here, Carmen. Good morning, Rosalind. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Dr. Charles Wallace. Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Yolanda and Barbara and Angie. Good morning, Cherie and Daniel and Glency. Good morning, Antonia and Irie. Good morning, Carlene. Good morning, Sonia. Good morning, Candace. Good morning, Monica. Good morning to everyone. Good morning to all the people. Listen, y'all know what it is. I got a few thoughts. Listen, I got to pause for you, Jeffrey, because I do have to say this one shout out. Because, Jeffrey, congratulations. I was like, is that Jeffrey Howard, PRC, Village Keeper Jeffrey Howard? One thing that I do annually that I try to do is to watch at least one of the ceremonies from one of my alma maters, and all three of them usually happen over Mother's Day weekend. So I'm not always able to catch them all, but yesterday I watched Virginia Union's, my undergraduate alma mater. I watched the ceremony, like the big ceremony, and then I watched the STVU seminary. And Jeffrey, I think it's you. That's you, right? I heard finishing with your Master of Divinity from VUU from Columbia, South Carolina. I thought it was you, and I thought it looked like you. But if it wasn't you, man, it certainly looked like you. So congratulations to you, and again to everyone who completed. So yes, it is you, Ashe. So I watched you walk across the stage yesterday. Congratulations. And I knew I shouldn't have started, but shout out to Kim Vini and so many others. I shouldn't have started this, who graduated from Howard. Shout out to those who graduated from Candler. Let me just do my alma maters from Virginia Union, from Howard University, and from Candler. Special shout out to all of you all, right? Good morning, good morning, good morning. And others, I said others, and others, and others, all, everybody. Everybody, okay? Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Michael Elam. Let's get to it. I got some thoughts that are coming from two places. I want to tell you now. They're coming from two places because I have thoughts, because this day is a very interesting day, is a very touchy day for many. I think what I can say I'm proud of many in a collective way for acknowledging. Growing up, I never heard about possible Mother's Day triggers. I never thought about them. I never, they were never at the forefront of my mind as a child, because my lived experiences didn't yield sort of didn't require it. I'll say that. And so I am really appreciative of the many ways that the healers in the community, Dr. Danielle Bahuro, Reverend Dr. Tish Dixon Williams, and others of you who have been intentional about acknowledging how this day, this acknowledgement of Mother's Day can be triggering. And so I join you in acknowledging how it may be triggering for people for myriad reasons, for those who have desired to be mothered but have not been mothered well, for those who desire to mother and whose bodies have not cooperated, for those who have lost children, for children who have lost mothers. I mean, it's just touchy all around. And it requires conversation, and it requires care. And I acknowledge that, Ashe. I acknowledge that. And at the same time, I think sometimes when we are attempting to offer care, which is necessary and important, hear me, when we attempt to offer care, in our attempt to offer care and make sure that we are giving room to those who require it and need it, that we all, in a way, not intentionally, but sometimes we silence those who want to celebrate. Hear me clear. I do think we need to be concerned and offer care, and critique this kind of capitalistic holiday all the way around. Like, where did it come from? Who started it? Why did it start, right? How has it grown into this bustling capitalistic day of observance, where the florists get paid and, the restaurants will be, and it is not, Father's Day is not as nearly popular as Mother's Day. So I think that there are some things to critique there, right? In this kind of Western human-made holiday of observance of mothers, that wherein fathers do not get the same acknowledgement. And for all of the reasons that I named, I think sometimes in our attempt to do that, we kind of isolate or mute those who do desire to celebrate. So there is a way, friends, that we have to find balance. We must find balance to be able to care and celebrate. Both sets of emotions live in all parts of our collective, right? So as to not mute those who desire to acknowledge that they are either mothering or to celebrate and acknowledge mothers, and alongside the pain of those for whom it is painful and who are experiencing a mother wound. So the thoughts that I have today are around both sets. It's around the essence of mothering and healing the mother wound, Ashe. I'm using two separate kinds of text. I'm going to attempt to move through it. Ooh, I ran late, so I'm going to go over a little late before we go over to the clearing. And we won't be over in the clearing long because I'm today going to watch the graduation of Hampton University. Shout out to Janai Shanae, one of my nieces. Her mother, Janaea, and I are college classmates and sorors. And I just cannot believe that this baby is graduating already. So I'm going to watch their graduation and just sort of relax on this Mother's Day. Ashe, y'all with me? Are you with me? Ashe. Ashe, Dr. Jamie Edie, thank you. She said the woman who started the day, Anna Jarvis, stopped celebrating it because it became too commercialized and was simply too capitalistic for her. Well, boom, that part. That part. There is a text that I would like to bring to your attention. Y'all know me. I'm going to move around it, through it. There are two that I'm going to raise. The first one is Judges 5:7. And it reads, the peasantry... It is a tongue twister. The peasant... Come on, Holy Ghost, help me. The peasantry prospered in Israel. They grew fat on plunder because you arose as a mother in Israel. That's the first text. The second text would be Ruth 1:16-17. But Ruth said, do not press me to leave you or to turn back from following you. Where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. And where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord do this and so to me, and more as well, even if death parts me from you. Ashe, ashe. So my first set of thoughts, are around how we mother beyond borders. really talking about this essence of mothering. So if there was a proposition, I guess here it would be that in a world where traditional roles of mothering are often limited by gender and societal expectation, God calls us to a community-based model of mothering, one rooted in care, justice, and collective responsibility. So, yes, on this day, we do honor the mothers among us and those who mothered us, whether they were biological or other mothers, chosen mothers, community mothers. We also honor those who mother beyond gender and sex. You're going to have to stay with me today. Those who mother beyond gender and sex, those who mother as mentors, advocates, and caregivers. In a world that often narrows the concept of mothering to biological and heteronormative frameworks, we affirm that mothering is an act of diligence, an act of care, an act of resistance, and communal survival. I want to run that back. While we honor in all of the traditional ways, we are expansive here, Ashe. So we also honor those who mother beyond gender and beyond sex, those who mother as mentors, so the house mothers, Ashe, those who mother as advocates and caregivers in a world that often narrows the concept of mothering to biological and heteronormative frameworks. We affirm that mothering is an act of resistance. It is an act of diligence. It is an act of care. It is an act of communal survival. So we want to look at Deborah this morning. Deborah in the book of Judges. Deborah in the book of Judges, where we encounter a mother in Israel who rises up in a time of crisis. This story, I think, calls us, right, to broaden our understanding of mothering as a communal, justice-driven, and liberative act. Mothering as a communal, justice-driven, and liberative act. So what are we doing? Where is my fan? What are we doing? What we essentially, friends, are doing is debunking, like we are taking the respectability out of, because if we really want to talk about it, some of our mother wounds, I know, y'all know I'm going to be crossing and blurring these lines, really come from what we believe a mother is supposed to be, not based on what we know, but based on what society said is a good mother. Who church said is a good mother. Hence, this day will be crowded. Many mothers will come with they hats and they flowers, and they'll get a special shout out and flowers and mama, I love you. But who gonna be singing Dear Mama? You are appreciated. I know you was a crack fiend, mama. Like who, right? So there's a way in which we, not just capitalism, but respectability connected to capitalism on who gets to be celebrated as a mother. Yeah. The ways for the mothers who are on lockdown, for the mothers who are on the street right now, for mothers who are dealing with mental unwellness as a result of becoming a mother. Come on. Where are the spaces that they get celebrated? Where is their standing ovation? Where is the ovation for the teen mother? Come on. You get it, right? Right? You understand the point and where we're going. I believe that I am making myself clear. Ashe. So Deborah, she rises up. This passage is a song. This passage is a song. Come on, Jamie, because I forgot that one. For the mothers who didn't want to mother, but had to mother. For the mothers who never asked to be mothers because violation made them a mother. And for mothers who didn't want to be mothers, but because a government legislated what was right, or because the church said, and now here we are. Yeah. And let's keep this same energy when we get to June for fathers who didn't want to be fathers. Yeah. Let's just make sure we keep this same energy for fathers who didn't want to be fathers, who expressed that they didn't want to be fathers, but the mothers said, Okay, I'm sorry. Bring me back. Deborah rose up to attend to her people. She had a preferred spot where she ruled under a shade tree. She identified in the text as a mother of Israel. She was a judge, a prophet, and a warrior. The people of Israel were a little hard-headed. You can read that in Judges 4:14. They hadn't done what God instructed them to do, so they lived in places where they couldn't plant. And if they couldn't plant, then they could not expect a harvest. This brought about economic hardship. The community was in despair. They were peasants. Peasants are those of low social status who own or rent a small piece of land for cultivation. They were experiencing economic hardship, which led to social hardship. To this end, the people of Israel were exhausted from their circumstances. They were being ruled over and lived in a state of constant threats. Their community members also were in constant fear of not having enough food, not having enough water, not having enough shelter. So in this chapter, we read how Deborah sent for Barak. She needed to warn him about what was coming down the pipe for the people. She was trying to alert him that 12 was on the horizon. She instructed him how to move. Barak, scared to do so, to move, he told Deborah, I'll do it, but only if you come with me. And the text says that Deborah went up with him because Deborah was a community mother. Okay, Melva, what are you getting to here? She was not just a leader, but she was a community mother. She was a mother to a nation. When Israel was under oppression, it was Deborah who arose and declared herself as a mother in Israel. Deborah's mothering was not about biological connection, but about communal responsibility. She stood in the gap when the community was under threats. Patricia Hill Collins, I did, Tara, say 12. Patricia Hill Collins, a pioneering Black feminist thinker, introduces to us the concept of other mothering. Other mothering. It is a practice where Black women care for children who are not biologically theirs. Now, while she came up with this concept, this duty, this performance is not new. We find other mothering in indigenous villages all over the world. We find other mothering in many of the villages on the continent of Africa, where they would move and go into kindezis. Kindezis were spaces, places where the elder women with the inverted uterus, women who had already experienced menopause and were no longer working in a particular way in the community, would take all of the children in and would care for them. That's why many of our babysitters, if you want to talk about it, if you want to say something, listen, most of my babysitters was over 70, okay? Because there is something about the knowledge being passed down from generation to generation. So the concept, the performance of the concept isn't new, but what Patricia Hill Collins does is she gives us a category to place, to identify a container to place this action by way of other mothering. It is rooted in survival. Shout out to you, Shelby Gymnise, one of our graduates who will be graduating the Wake Forest University School of Divinity on next Saturday with a dual degree, a Master of Divinity and a Master in Counseling. We salute you, Ashe. So here Deborah is embodying this principle. She rises up as a mother in Israel, not because of familial obligation, but because of communal necessity. She mothers a nation, not from a place of power, but from a place of purpose. She mothers a nation not from a place of power, but from a place of purpose. Because for some of us, our mother wounds, I'm going back and forth, stem because of a misuse of power. Just hold it right here, because I got a whole piece for the mother wound. Just hold it right here. I'm moving quickly, and then we're going to take it over to the clearing. Okay? Ashe. Right? So what what does a mothering essence do? It rises up in crisis. That's one. Okay. The second point, just these are just just my notes. Is then how do we expand the vision of mothering? How do we mother beyond gender? Oh, Melva, what are you saying? How do we mother beyond gender? And this is how we heal the mother wound. In our communities, mothering is often assigned to women alone, but Deborah's story pushes us to expand this vision that mothering is not just a feminine role. What you say? Yeah. Mothering is not just a feminine role, it is a divine calling for all who care, nurture, and who advocate for justice. Yeah. In my Afro-centered womanist perspective, in African and African diasporic traditions, mothering has always been about more than just giving birth. The griots, the healers, the freedom fighters, all of these roles embody the spirit of mothering. It is about birthing liberation and guidance, not just children. Oh, girl. I'm sorry. What you say, Dr. Melva? That mothering is not just about birthing children. And because throughout generations, we have placed so much on gendered mothering, on the anatomical process of mothering, that makes those who have not been able to mother in what people say are normative ways of mothering question their worth, be angry, frustrated, all understandable emotions, because of a desire to want to mother. And I must admit that I am speaking from a place, love you, Vanessa, that I'm speaking from a place of someone who has mothered, who is mothering, who has biological children. And so there's a place where I cannot go, but also I have lost children in utero. And also I have made the decision prior in my life to terminate because I did not want to be a mother. And so all of these emotions come to bear in one space. And so I am not attempting to discard or disregard those emotions or to place one thing in for another. I'm attempting to expand how we understand mothering to make sure that it is inclusive. That when we talk about mothering, that it is not just about birthing children, while important, it is also about birthing liberation and birthing guidance. And you don't have to be a biological woman to do that. Some of y'all gonna drop off right now. Some of y'all said, okay, see you, bye. Some of y'all said, now you're going too far. That's what some of y'all said. I know you did. When we see mothering through an Afrocentric and Afrofuturist lens, we recognize that it is beyond the boundaries of sex and gender. It is about fostering life, about nurturing growth, and creating safe spaces for flourishing. If you do these things, you a mama. In the spirit of Ubuntu, we realize, quote, that I am because we are. It is our collective care. It is the collective care that births new futures. So to be a community mother, then, is to challenge rigid gender norms. Whether you are a father, a mentor, an advocate, or an ally, if you are nurturing life, you are mothering. Ashe? Quickly, 3, and then we'll do 15 minutes on the mother womb. How do we see mothering as, yes, Terrace, absolutely. How do we see mothering as liberation? Deborah's mothering did not just protect, it empowered. As a judge, prophet, and warrior, she led Israel from survival to flourishing. This is what it means to mother for liberation, to move our people from the margins to the center, from despair to hope. Mothering for liberation means imagining new possibilities for ourselves and our communities. It is about dreaming of a future where our children thrive, where our communities are whole, and where justice reigns. Afrofuturism teaches us that mothering is also storytelling, my God, telling our children of their greatness, their beauty, and their power, even when the world denies it. So to mother in this way means to invest in the future of our community. It means mentoring young people, creating safe spaces for healing, and nurturing the dreams that seem too radical for this present moment. So let's honor those who mother and those who are called to mother, as we honor Deborah's boldness to claim her place as a mother in Israel. It is in this spirit of wisdom, of womanist wisdom and Afrocentric faith, that we claim that mothering is a divine act of resistance, that it is about nurturing life, birthing justice, and ensuring that our communities rise. Friends, and as beautiful as that sounds, as beautiful as that comes forth, what is also clear is that many of us have mother wounds. Many of us have mother wounds. Also thinking about Setha and Toni Morrison's Beloved. So here's how I'm putting Ruth in conversation with Morrison. So in the text from Ruth, we witness a commitment that transcends biological ties. Are you seeing the trend here? A chosen bond that heals and reimagines family through love, loyalty, and a shared journey. Like Ruth and Naomi, we too must confront the mother wound, whether from loss, neglect, or pain, and choose to heal by reclaiming stories, honoring love where it shows up. Honoring love where it shows up. And restoring our souls through community. So we root ourselves in the story of Ruth and Naomi, which is a story not just about familial loyalty, but about reclaiming identity and community despite loss. Ruth makes a decision: where you go, I'ma go. And in that declaration, she chose love, solidarity, and the possibility of new beginnings. In the same breath, we hear echoes of Setha from Beloved, burdened by choices, shaped by trauma, yet fiercely clinging to the possibility of love. The mother wound does not disqualify us from healing. It demands that we choose. Jesus, do y'all hear it? Choose like Ruth and like Setha to keep journeying towards wholeness. So here in these notes about mother wounds, I think if there were points, one would be to reclaim our stories. And let's take this: where you go, I'll go. So healing the mother wound, and this is not my language. The mother wound is not my language. I think there's a book. There's a sister who also, it might be the name of her podcast or definitely her Instagram page, about the mother wound. So I just want to acknowledge that the mother wound, the concept itself does not come from me. But we all have them. Ashe. So healing the mother wound begins by reclaiming our stories. Ruth chose Naomi despite the odds, despite the grief. In a world that often tells us that our trauma defines us, Ruth declares that our love and loyalty shape our destiny. To heal, we must be willing to reclaim our narratives. Just as Morrison crafts stories where brokenness and love coexist, we must tell the truth about our pain while refusing to be consumed by it. To tell the truth about your wound, but refusing to be consumed by it. The journey towards healing is to say this: I will not abandon this part of me. I will embrace my whole story. There is a way that you can name the pain without shame. So for the daughters who have mother wounds, who have been afraid to name the pain because you don't want to shame your mother. And for the mothers who have created the wound, who never named the pain because they didn't want to shame their mother. Do you see the pattern? That your story is yours. And it is an act of injustice for you to hold your story and not to share your story. The issue is, it lies in the intent for you sharing your story. Are you sharing your story to be able to fully show the loyalty and that you have to yourself and to your inner person? Or are you sharing your story to inflict harm and or to inflict pain? It is important that to heal the wound, that first we have to acknowledge that the story does exist. We have to acknowledge that there is a story there. Oh, Melva, what do you mean? Things that we joke about in our communities, things that we joke about the ways that we got toe up, had to go find our own switch, had to be on punishment, had to stand in the corner, had to do wall squat, all kinds of things create a mother wound. It is an unequitable distribution of power that we as guides on this side of time to guide you and to walk with you. But what has happened is we as oppressors have become, as the oppressed have become sub-oppressors. Hence we adopt the ideology, do what I said and don't ask me no questions. Or because I said so, without any adequate reasoning, we fail to give our children ways to confront or to problem solve, even when they are trying to problem solve with us who become the problem. Y'all don't hear me? You don't want this reflection today. You don't want it. You don't want it. You don't want it today. Because healing your mother wound is going to require you to have to look at the ways, whether or not you have taken that same behavior and you are engaging it in the community. So one, you got to acknowledge that there's a wound. And with therapy and with the guidance of trusted and qualified and credentialed counselors, have someone walk with you to be able to see that some of the things that you laugh about, that you think are just characteristics of growing up in an African diaspora community or growing up in a Latinx community or any other community, is just a part of the culture, is not really a part of the culture, is really a wound. Is really not even a wound, but is a display. Is a display of oppression. That part. So if there is a way for us then to name the pain without the shame, to honor the journey by acknowledging the complexity of mothering, both the presence and the absence. Listen, mothering is complex. And remember, I'm not just talking about birthing children, mothering. I'm talking about guiding and liberating communities. It is complex because while there is not a concise rule book, it will humble you. Because mothering really is a mirror. It is a mirror. It is always looking back at you what you've put out. So if you do not like what you see in the mirror, then it is highly likely that you don't like parts of you. We have to reclaim those parts of our story. And for those older generations for whom this message is too expansive, you must acknowledge because there was no rule book, because there was no one way, because you grew up in a time, in a season where you could not show emotion, where you had to be hard, where you had to ingest your your emotions, where you drank your emotions, you drugged your emotions, or where you turned a blind eye to violence happening in your home or in our communities against your children because it was violence that happened to you, because it was violence that is deep in your lineage and in your bloodline. And so you have lived with this shame and you want to speak this pain. Since I want to say to you, friend, sibling, I want to say to you that there is a way for you to acknowledge your pain and not do it from a place or a point of shame. It's complex. Mothering causes you to have to deal with your own mental incapacities. For you to say I'm overwhelmed, y'all, I can't do it. For you to acknowledge I got postpartum. For you to say I don't feel like myself and I feel like I will take... To name your pain without the shame. To name the pain that is associated with becoming a mother, with not being guided your own self, with losing your mother. Some of us didn't only physically lose our mothers at early ages, we mentally... Hello. We talk about the physical mother wound, but the mental and emotional mother wound. Some of our mother wounds come from mothers who were never able really to check in mentally and emotionally because of their own unhealed, because of their own scars, because of their own wounds. They could not be there for us in the way that we desired most. It is not just the mothers who were community mothers and were there for everybody, the mothers who unfortunately succumbed from various chronic diseases. We have to now engage what were the diseases: poverty, socioeconomic instability, holding down 2 and 3 jobs, high blood pressure, diabetes. Come on, if we gonna talk about it, we gonna talk about it. It is not enough to celebrate in the church house, but not dismantle the systems and the policies and the ways that make it so that those who mother have had to get it out the mud. I've had to figure it out. You got to hold your own story. Give yourself grace. Knowing that healing doesn't mean erasure, but healing means integration. Ashe. Too quickly, you got to honor love where it shows up. If you couldn't get it from your mama, if you still ain't got it from your mama, you got to honor where it shows up. The text says, your people will be my people. Healing sometimes means letting go of the ideal to embrace the real. Baby. Can I tell you that even in this season of resurrection, some of y'all still got y'all mamas on the cross? Us, not y'all, us. I'm talking to me too. And the question for people who believe in resurrection and rebirth, you know what the question is. See, because we can accept Jesus resurrecting and we can accept us resurrecting, but can your mama be resurrected? Resurrected doesn't mean that she needs to have an intimate relationship with you, but can she be resurrected? Can they be resurrected? Can he be resurrected? Can the mothering essence in the being be resurrected? Ruth and Naomi were not mother and daughter by blood, but by choice. They formed a family from the ashes of loss. Sometimes the love we need does not come from where we expect. We got to be open to finding mothering love in friends and apprentices and elders and peers and communities that choose to journey with us. Toni Morrison reminds us that love, no matter how flawed, is still love. My God. Honor the love that shows up even if it doesn't look like what you once hoped for. Now that's a word. Honor the love that shows up even if it does not look like what you once hoped for. Man, we could just even if it doesn't look like. Woo! That's it, right? Sit on it, Melva. To honor the love that shows up even if it doesn't look like what you once hoped for. Bag lady, you gon' miss your bus. You can't hurry up, 'cause you got too much stuff. When they see you coming, ninjas take off running from you. It's true, oh yes, it's true. One day he gon' say, so, oh, 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 oh. Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. That high blood pressure is because you won't let go of what you hoped for. That diabetes, because you eat your emotions. Into God's hands commend their spirits and release them so that you can release yourself. Because right now your tomb is not empty. It's filled with memory and grief and emotions and frustrations and anger and hurt. It is filled with unfulfilled dreams, incomplete hope. It is filled with I woulda, I coulda, if only you had been. It is filled. But can I invite you to make peace with the reality of the relationships you have right now? No, you weren't mothered. Well, by your biological mother, by your stepmother, or bonus mother, or you came into the world and your mom transitioned on your coming in. There are those who've been attempting to show up for you. You got to make peace with the reality of the relationships that you have. You got to build new kinship circles where nurturing love is freely given and received without the guilt of receiving it from someone else other than the one you expected to receive it from. And you gotta accept that chosen family can be as sacred as blood family friends. And can I also say this to honoring love where it shows up for mothers whose children have transitioned. You are always a mother. You don't cease to be a mother because your child has transitioned to the other side. Your mothering sensibilities are heightened. And you can continue to communicate. Certainly the midst of physical touch. And depending on how a child transitioned, the dealing with emotions of grief, high grief, disabling grief, can prevent us. But we also need to talk about mothers whose children have transitioned. Not only mothers whose children have transitioned in utero, mothers who carry children, whether children transition as embryos in the first trimester, or whether they transitioned in the second or third, and mothers who had to actually birth what was not living. There is a kind of sympathy and or empathy that we offer those experiencing mothering in that way, that we don't have, not because we don't want to, but because we don't know what to say to mothers whose children were either violently snatched out by other human beings, or no less violently snatched out by chronic disease. So for mothers who are missing life, for mothers who cannot see any light, for mothers whom are experiencing a complete absence of a part of their soul and of their body, I also invite you not to make peace with the reality of the transition, but to open yourselves as you are able with committed care to other ways of mothering relationships that are around you. That the way through will be to build new kinship circles where you can freely give love and where you can freely receive it. Finally, restoring our souls through community. Where you die, I die. Naomi and Ruth leaned into their connection to survive. The restoration of the mother wound is not a solitary endeavor. Healing is a communal practice. We must journey together, carrying each other when one of us can no longer carry herself. Our community mothering, as Hill Collins calls it, acknowledges that sometimes we mother one another in unexpected ways. Healing happens in the collective, in the embrace of sisterhood, mentorship, and radical love that says, I will stay with you. So what do we need to do going forward? We need to build rituals of healing within our community. How do we do that? Sharing your story, sharing meals, sharing our burdens of the stories, celebrating the other mothers who have stood in the gap. Commit to being a presence in someone else's story. So we name the mother wound, we honor its complexity, but we do not surrender to its power. We're going to move forward. We're not going to be defined by what we lost, but by how we choose to love and be loved. We are claiming our stories, honoring the love that shows up, restoring our souls through the power of community. As we do, we echo the spirit of Setha, haunted by the past, but yearning to move beyond it. The mother womb may mark us, but it will not define us. So today we choose healing. Today we choose to go wherever love calls us. Ashe. I offer these two reflections in honor of my own mother, Norvell, who is somewhere in the Pacific right now on a ship sailing through Hawaii on her way to Canada. I say her name because I know she has a mother wound, Ashe. Because my grandmother, Inez, had a mother wound. Because her mother in this picture, Mamie, had a mother wound. Because her mother's mother had a mother wound. And we could trace the mother wound all the way back. And because of those unhealed wounds, inability to share pain without shame and guilt or frustration, we carry that on. We carry that on in us and through us. And as a result, it sends us to emotional spaces where we don't have capacity and or room, if you will, to share. But this is what I want to say. To all who mother, to have the mothering essence, to brothers who mother, to non-gender conforming who mother, to sisters who mother, to everybody who mothers, Ashe. And I want to say a special word. One more category. To mothers who have lost their children to the system. I'm talking about not mothers, one is, yes, mothers whose community children are incarcerated, but mothers who were unable to be stable enough for myriad reasons to hold on to their children, and their children have been placed or were placed in systems. And some of you are the children, some of you are the product, Ashe. Come on, Holy Spirit. Some of you are the product. You have grown up in foster care, foster homes, and there is a deep and abiding distrust, frustration, and anger you have. And some of you are deep and abiding longing to know why and to what. But you may never know why and or what, which is why you have to make the choice to love where you are and to love whom is showing you love, Ashe. But to those who live with the feeling of failure, who live in the shadows of this day and in the shadows of society. Who will not walk in church because they believe that they don't deserve the love of God or the love of other people. For those mothers who gave birth by themselves, alone in some bathroom, alone in a room, who did not know what to do, who were scared out of their mind because their mama said, don't bring no babies into this house, or because they got kicked out and had no idea what to do, none whatsoever, and so they left their baby unattended. For those who were imbalanced, and for those who had seen the horror, like Toni Morrison gives to us in Setha, who had been enslaved and had self-emancipated, but had heard that the slave catchers were on their way to retrieve her, who determined that my children will not experience, they will not be returned, and so she took their lives violently. And it is hard to read and hard to hear, and yet And yet, we immediately go because the West tells us that this is problematic and that this is an imbalance. But until you have lived to the young mother, the teenage mother, to the pregnant teenage mother right now, you've not told anyone. Can I just sit here for a minute as I feel the Spirit giving utterance? You've not told anyone. You are trying to figure it out. And as a result, because you've tried to figure it out by yourself, you have now moved beyond any kind of viability of having an alternative decision. You must now move to bear to birth. Hold your head up. Hold your head up. And if you can't find love in your own home, there are others who will love you, who don't see you as a failure. You still will continue. You still will move forward. For mothers who were drug addicted, for the formative years of your children's lives, whose names will probably never be called in the church house to come up to get your flower. For my tatted mothers, tatted from the neck to the ankle. For my nose pierced mothers. For my stiletto nail wearing mothers. For my bust down weave wearing mothers. For my boho braid wearing mothers. For my bald head scallywag mothers. For my weed smoking mothers. For my buy me a drink mothers. For my sex working mothers. For my mothers who have to put it on the pole mothers. For the side chick mothers. I see you. For my affiliated mothers, if you know, you know. I see you. For my lockdown mothers. For my mothers diagnosed with bipolar and schizophrenia and clinical depression. I see you. For my suicidal mothers. I see you. My scammer mothers, I see you. My booster mothers, I see you. For my mothers with multiple children's fathers, I see you. For my graveyard shift working mothers, I see you. Whew. For the mothers who had to take care of babies outside, birth outside of relationship mothers, I see you. For mothers who are grieving silently because they fully accept their children and their identity as queer, because they love their children and they honor their children, but who silently grieve having to put away whom they believed that they birthed, and the relationship that had grown to open and adopt a new relationship. I see you. To the mothers who became mothers late in life, I see you. We say the names and the categories because not only is this observance rooted in capitalism, it is rooted in respectability. Yes, so shout out to the respectable mamas, Ashe. Y'all always get to shine. The realest thing I heard yesterday, and I'm going to try to find it when we go to the clearing, was an Instagram video of a brother saying that the only thing is going to heal the streets is somebody to come from the streets. And he started sharing this powerful, powerful offering. And he said, my mama sold her body. He said, but I ain't never seen my mama as no hoe, because that's my mama. He said that part. That's what Tupac was rapping about in Dear Mama. I want to end this way to say this, because this is, I know this is hard to hear. Yes, 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 yes. I want to talk to the mother who lives with domestic violence actively right now, active, current. You're not a survivor. You living in it right now. Right now. And you feel so guilty because you're saying, what have I shown my own daughter? What am I showing my daughter or my sons by staying in this situation? And you feel like you can't move. And if you could move, where would you move to? And now you're so dependent. You are codependent in a vicious cycle, and you put your body in the line of aggression to protect your children, and your children look at you with disgust and disdain because they are wondering what is wrong with you. How could you stay? I'm talking to you because I know this story. Because the misuse of yourself, the mistreatment of your body, the violation with you started well before this relationship. It started, with adults or older people who were imbalanced themselves. It started without the supervision required to move you through. It started and because it was never dealt with, or because you walked with this shame, the belief in your value has never been high. And so you believe that violation or a form of violation is somehow love. But you got these babies. My God. and they are watching, and you are saying, what kind of mother am I? And I am saying, we see you. You are one who is doing the best you can with the knowledge you have at the time. But let me implore you to open yourself up to acknowledge the reality of your situation. That as the resources are coming, and they are coming, it's that mother wound, y'all. It is the trauma of that DNA that we are carrying the wounds of our mothers, and they're carrying the wounds of their mothers, and the wounds of it is the reason why I am the way that I am right now in my own mother ring, whether it be my children or the community. And I had to get to a place to say to my mother, although I don't know if she always understands, that the depth of my love for you is not in question, has never been in question, but I can love you from the depths of my heart and still point out where points of pain have come. And it doesn't mean that you've not done what you could for me, that you've not sacrificed for me, that you've not made ways for me, that you have not laid your life on the line for me. Two things can be true at once. Just because, not just because, but because this does not cancel out this. And that's where some of us are. Some of us struggle to name the pain because we don't want to shame, and we don't want to disavow the good that we did experience. And so I know that I am the mother that I am today. I'm mother in a particular way today because of what I'd hoped for. And what I'd hoped for, even though it may not align perfectly with what my mother was able to give, also I have to acknowledge that some of my hopes were influenced by fantasy life. You don't hear me today. I'm getting off here. Some of my hopes have been influenced by fantasy life, around June Cleaver, around a stay-at-home mom, around one who could be at the PTA meetings, one who could be at every game, one who didn't have to work two jobs, one who wasn't single, one whom we had. That is a kind of fantasy life, a normative understanding of a family model that is outdated. Friends, I just want to help us. I want to help us. So hence I had to acknowledge that here I was, Carmen, holding my mother to a standard that was never built, a model that was never built for one of her race and or her class. That I had to expand that because she was birthed out of a tenuous situation from two people whose worth was also challenged within them, both of them married to other people, both of them living without hopes living with hopes that have not come into fruition, finding something, be it lust, like, maybe not love, but finding something enough to choose to share a moment that would bear life. Oh, but Melva, what are you saying? Bring it back. And even with my grandmother, who comes into this world as a result of being her mother, my great grandmother, being violated at the age of 12, being birthed at the age of 13. Oh, Melva, a mother wound. Oh, but even the mother wound from my great grandmother being sold off, if you will, like cattle to the person in the community that would take her and marry her, even though they said that she was spoiled because of the violation, being paired with someone that she didn't even love. My goodness. And then making her way in the Great Migration, first stopping in Chicago and then finally settling in Pittsburgh. Friends, I want to tell you that we are not the only ones who are engaging the mother wound. You don't hear it today, that this thing goes deep back into the lineage. And so if we want to hold something to the fire, we need to hold the injustices of this system, of this empire that have set up a way of life for us that would seemingly welcome our fall. For your homeless mothers and those mothers with HIV/AIDS, Ashe. That's it. That's it. That's it. And so, Norvell, I love you, sis. And to your point, while we are often passing ships, because I know it's painful for you to hear my story and not feel like you're being shamed. And it's frustrating for me for you not to acknowledge my story and for me to feel like I'm shamed for bringing my story. You see how that's passing? And so my correction to it is to be in a space and a place where my own children can bring to me, can talk to me about whatever. It's not easy. I often have to check myself. But if I am mothering and guiding liberation, then I have to hear them when they say, that's private. I don't want to talk to you about that. Or, Mama, you can't talk to me like that. Or, I'm a human being and I deserve respect, all things that they have said to me. Ashe, then that is what is required. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. I think also, I neglected, this would be a good book. Tamora Lomax's latest book, Freeing Black Girls. A Black Feminist Bible on Racism and Revolutionary Mothering. Ashe. All right, y'all. Let's head on over to the clearing. Listen, this has been, there are a few times a year when I open up the clearing. It is our private space. It is a subscription space. People so are offering to be present with one another. And so I don't open it up often out of just respect for those who are sewing. But there are moments when I sense that it has been heavy and folk need to be in community. And today is one of those days. And so if you are on YouTube and you're saying two things that you just need today, but you don't necessarily, you don't want to join our subscription community, email me or inbox me if you're on Facebook. Email me at drmelvasampson@gmail.com or inbox me on Facebook. If you are saying, I absolutely do want to be a part of this community, then you can email me also, and I will send you the link, or inbox me, and I will send you the link to join, as well as giving you the Facebook link, the Zoom link to come with us. All right, y'all. Pray for us this week.